everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Now, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost is meant to be a 1999 supernatural horror comedy film, as well as being the second film in the Scooby-Doo film series that followed after Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Now, usually I would do horror films during Halloween, but Scooby-Doo's that iconic thing that's been around for so long, it's just more giving it a pass sort of thing. Now, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost is more of that film that nobody really talks about as much. I mean, me and my friends usually talk about Zombie Island, but we never really talked about the Witch's Ghost. I remember as a kid watching this back on Cartoon Network in the 2000s, and for the most part I would say it's like mixing the Blair Witch Project with Scooby-Doo. Now, the premise of the film is meant to follow Scooby and the gang meeting a famous writer, Ben Ravencroft, who invites them to his town in Oak Haven, Massachusetts, and they kind of see how the town has been overcrowded with tourists and that, which they believe that a ghost is behind sort of the showings and other activities by the townspeople. And it kind of becomes clear that there's more things going on than there is, and it's kind of clear that there's more truths about Ben than there is, as well as the ghost of Ben's ancestor, Sarah Ravencroft. And of course, this is kind of like where I think the film tries to be Blair Witch Project with Scooby-Doo. And it becomes kind of clear that there's more truths about what the ghost is, and a bigger truth of Ben's character. So throughout the film, it's just basically Scooby and the gang trying to put the pieces together, as well as getting help from the Hex Girls. Now, the Hex Girls are those kind of iconic characters you would see in What's New Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, and Scooby-Doo Guess Who. And I think it's kind of interesting to hear Jennifer Hale have an amazing singing voice. Again, I think Jennifer Hale's that iconic character you've seen in so many things, like Mandy in Totally Spies, Princess Morbucks in Powerpuff Girls, as well as Black Knight in Generator X. I can also see why that they wanted to tone down the story a bit to its less darker roots, and I get it that people just were afraid that that kind of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island had that dark element that I think they felt was too scary for the intended audience. But I think with Witch's Ghost, it doesn't really try to be too scary. It's just trying to be almost too similar to Zombie Island, and you can definitely see some of the similarities. As you can kind of tell, they've got Fred and Daphne's outfits from the first film, and it's kind of implied that Fred and Daphne are still working on their show, but it's kind of implied they're taking more of a break from it. That, or they're just going back to solving mysteries again after getting the thrill from the last one. And I kind of feel as well is that with 66 minutes, you can kind of tell there's really a good mystery inside, but it feels like it goes with the whole bigger reveal story, which is kind of obvious at the start when Ben's trying to look for his ancestor's book, and if you are smart enough, then you can already put two and two together and figure out the pieces. And I wouldn't be surprised if the writers behind Witch's Ghost actually got the idea from the Blair Witch Project, because it's kind of similar. Characters travel to an area similar to Buckinville, Maryland. We see them basically learning about a kind of witch that was there before. We kind of see them sort of going in a kind of big, kind of over-the-top story, much like the Blair Witch Project. But I think, to me, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost is an average story. it hasn't got anything big planned, and it's clear that it's going to be something similar to Zombie Island, even though Zombie Island had what it wanted to tell. So I think this one definitely deserves a thumbs in the middle. Kind of alright, but kind of okay. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.